Greetings, Michael Didier here. Thank you for joining me. Well, after Yehovah gave Israel's seed, his Ezra men, his 10 commandments from Mount Sinai, yelled them down. Moses went up. Here it is. He's going up right at the very end of chapter 20. So the people stood afar off, but Moses drew near to the thick darkness where the Elohim was. And Yehovah said to Moses, thus you shall say to Israel's seed, again, the Ezra men, those are the only men who are there at the foot of the mountain. The Ger didn't come. The ladies didn't come. There's 2 places going on right now, and we can't see it. And we can't see it because we translate it as the children of Israel. But the ladies are still back at the base camp. The children, the female children are still back at the base camp. Probably the servants are still back at the base camp. And the Ger and their families and their servants are still back at the base camp, which is Rephidim, the same place where the rock of Horeb is, and where we are going to be camped for the next year. Ooh, I found out some very interesting things this week. Where did Moses, when he came down from the mountain, build an altar? Where did he put the pillars? And where is the Ark of the Testimonies, the Testimonies Ark, gonna be? In Rephidim or at the foot of Sinai? Oh, so many interesting things that we've got to understand. And because of the confusion in Exodus and in our minds, we miss things. We don't understand that Moses has been up talking to Yehovah since this verse right here, 20:21 of Exodus. So the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near to the thick darkness. Ooh, I've got to show you one of the very first things that Yehovah said to Moses when he came up. Look what it says. You shall not make anything to be with me, Elohim of silver or Elohim of gold. How about stone? But look at what he says. An altar of earth you shall make to me, and you shall slaughter on it your olah and your peace, your shalamim, from your sheep and from your oxen. In every place where I record my name, where my name is remembered, is what he's saying, Zakar, where my name is remembered, I will come to you and I will bless you. Wait till you see. This is the very first thing that Yehovah told Moses to do. The very first thing when he comes back is he's going to build an altar. Moses is taking what Yehovah says to heart. Now, he goes up for chapter 21, chapter 22, chapter 23. He's been giving us his judgments. Some statutes, but mainly judgments. I want to cover some of the ones that we talked about last week. Remember, we talked about this one, number 2, or verse 2. You shall not follow a crowd to do evil. Remember what the rabbis do? They say that whatever the majority of the rabbis say, that's how it is. The exact opposite of what Yehovah is saying they're doing. Shame on them. Look what it says, verse 9. Also you shall not oppress the Ger, a Ger, for you all know the heart, the nefesh, the mind and the emotions. They don't know the heart. Only Yehovah knows the heart of a Ger. Because you were Gerim in the land of Egypt. Notice he's not saying you know the heart of the Ezra man. Why? Because there's no Ezra or no Ger with them right now. He's speaking to his Ezra men. One law shall be for the Ger and the Ezra. One law shall be for the Ger and the Ezra. The native born and the Ger, the stranger who dwells with you. He says 6 years you should sow your land. People have a problem with this. Here's what it says in Leviticus. And Yehovah spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai, saying, speak to Israel's seed and say to them, when you come into the land, which I give you, not which you bought, which I give you, Israel's seed, then the land shall keep a Sabbath to Yehovah. Here's another one. He says in 13, and in all that I have said to you, be circumspect. Circumspect, be guarded. And make no, it says mention. The word there is zakar. All the places where my name is zakar, remembered, it said, I will come to you and I will bless you. Here it says, make no remembrance of other Elohim. How do we make remembrances of other Elohim? We do it with things like the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial. We remember the other Elohim, the other lawmakers and judges. But we're not supposed to remember them. I remember the pillar that is in front of the Vatican. Just like the Washington Monument, only bigger. Well, I don't know for sure that it's bigger. It seemed bigger. It seemed gigantic in front of the Vatican. But that's because they're Elohim. It's the pillars that we're going to tear down when we come into the land. And that one is coming down. Make no remembrance of the name of other Elohim, nor let it be heard from your mouth. We don't even want to talk about it. You know, we want to make this Tammuz, Nimrod, Ashtoreth, because we see these words gods, but we don't understand what the gods are that we're talking about. We're talking about other lawmakers and judges. He says, 3 times a year you shall keep a feast to me in the year. Now he says, after he says which they are, Passover, Shavuot, and Sukkot. Now in 17, look what he says. 3 times a year all your males shall appear before the Master, Yehovah. How many times in the Torah does it call Yehovah the Lord? Over 5,000 times. The Lord, the Lord. They keep calling him the Lord. The rabbis call him Adonai. But you know, there's only 2 places. I said it last week, couldn't find the other place. I found it for you. I wanted to show it to you. There's only 2 places where it actually says the Lord, the Adonai, the Master, Yehovah, which is what it says right here, the Master, Yehovah. Here's what it looks like. All thy males, all thy zakar shall appear before the Master. Here it is. Adon. Here's the Adon. See if I can get it. There's the Adon right there. The Master. Here it is down here. 34:23 of Exodus. 3 times a year all thy males shall appear before the Master, Yehovah, Elohim of Israel. Israel's Elohim. There's no Gentiles that have Yehovah as their Elohim. Only Israel, his Ezra men, have Yehovah as their Elohim. We've got to see things with more understanding. Well, I wanted you to see that. The next thing I wanted to mention was something that we talked about last week. I will send a melech. I will shalach a melech before thee to keep thee in the way in which I will bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him. Obey his voice. Listen to what he says. Do not provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgressions. For my name is in him. The shalach speaks for Yehovah. He's sent by Yehovah. When you're sent by Yehovah, you speak for him. Look what it did. I think I've got it right here. Nope, I think I've got it in the next verse, right here. The 144,000 are going to do this, but look at this is what Joshua did. It's Joshua that we're talking about. He's the one that's going to bring us into the land. It says, for my angel will go before you and bring you into the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Jebusites. I will cut them off. This is what Joshua did. He led us. Look at what it says. This is Joshua 10, 12, and 13. Then Joshua spoke for Yehovah. In the day Yehovah delivered up the Amorites before Israel's seed. Does it sound familiar? And he said in the sight of Israel, sun, stand still over Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Abyalan. So the sun stood still and the moon stopped. Yehovah didn't tell him to say that. He simply took it on himself because he spoke for Yehovah. Look what it says, though. The rest of it, I think it's so interesting. And the moon stopped till the people had revenge upon their enemies. Is it not written in the book of Yashar? Well, we're going to see it is written in the book of Yashar. So the sun stood still in the midst of heavens and did not hasten to go down for about a whole day. Turns out it was 23 and a half hours, according to Yashar. That's about a whole day. Well, the last thing that he's signing off with, remember, Moses is coming back down from the mountain very shortly. Next chapter. Some verse, something like that. He says, so y'all shall serve Yehovah your Elohim. He will bless thy bread. Now he changes it from y'all to thy. Each one of your breads. Your bread, your water. He will take away sickness from your midst. Your family's not going to be sick. Your gates, the people within your gates are not going to be sick. Your servants are not going to be sick. The ger who dwells with you are not going to be sick. No one will suffer miscarriages or be barren in thy land. I will fulfill the number of thy days. I will send fear before thee. I will cause confusion among the people to whom thou come, and I will make all thy enemies turn their backs to thee. I will not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land become desolate and the beasts of the field become too numerous for you. Little by little I will drive them out, driving out the people of the land from before thee, until thou hast increased and thou inherit the land. That's what Israel's seed does. They inherit the land because the earth is Yehovah's and all those who dwell in it. Finally, he finishes by saying, thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their Elohim, their lawmakers and judges. He says, they shall not even dwell in thy land. In our land, they're not to dwell, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their Elohim, don't serve their Elohim, it will surely be a snare to you. Well, we talked about other verses relating to that last week. Let's start 24. We covered a little bit of this last week. Moses is coming down in verse 3. I was wrong, not 7. Last thing he says to Moses. Now he said to Moses, come up to Yehovah. He hasn't even gone down yet. Come up to Yehovah, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and the 70 elders of Israel, and worship from afar. Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu? What happened to Eleazar and Ithamar? How come they didn't come up? I don't understand why that is. Were they different ages? How come Yehovah picked those two boys, the same two boys that are going to be killed for bringing strange fire before Yehovah? Makes me wonder if being selected above their two brothers went to their heads. Is that possible? I don't know. But look, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, 70 elders of Israel, all men. Where do the 70 elders of Israel come from? 70 elders, it's used many times. Well, not many times, but a few times in scriptures. Here's one. See if I can get this to show up. So Yehovah said to Moses, gather to me 70 men of the elders of Israel. This is Numbers, whom you know to be elders of the people, officers over them. Bring them to the tabernacle of meeting, that they may stand there with you. Numbers 11. Tabernacle of meeting. We're going to see what that exactly is. We're going to probably see that that is Moses' tent and not the tabernacle of meeting, because the tabernacle of meeting is not even going to be, no, I guess it's going to be built by then. It's going to be built by Numbers 1. Yeah, so they may have a tabernacle of meeting at that point. Here's another one. So Moses went out and told the people the words of Yehovah. That's what it's all about, the words of Yehovah. And he gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people and placed them around the tabernacle. Then Yehovah came down in the cloud and spoke to him, and took the spirit that was upon him and placed it upon the 70 elders. And it happened when the Spirit rested upon them that they prophesied and continued to prophesy. New King James says, although they never did it again. Now we're going to see that's different. They continued to prophesy. Again, just got to dig into the Hebrew. Here's the last one. And there stood before them 70 men of the elders of the house of Israel. This is in Ezekiel. Still have 70 men of the elders of the house of Israel. And in the midst stood Jaazaniah, the son of Shaphan. Each man had a censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. Verse 2. Well, actually, let me just see if we have anything else here. This is just going to talk about Nadab and Abihu, how they brought the profane fire. We'll get to that. That'll be coming soon. Verse 2. And Moses alone shall come near to Yehovah, but they shall not come near, nor shall the people go up with him. So what's he saying? He's going to bring these 70 elders, Aaron, Nadab, how should we say it? It's Nadab and Abihu, come closer. We're going to see that Moses is going to continue further with Joshua. Is it possible Joshua is one of the elders of the people? Would make sense, wouldn't it? And Moses alone shall come near Yehovah, but they shall not come near, nor shall the people go up with him. Well, who's the people? Same people we've been talking about all along. Israel's seed, men, Ezra, men. Women are not there. They're in a different portion of the world right now. Base camp, I like to call it. But the people shall not go up with him. Ha'am, and Ha'am, and the people, it says. So now, here's Moses coming down. So Moses came and told the people all the words of Yehovah and all the judgments. And the people, remember the people, Israel's seed. The elders are included in Israel's seed. Aaron, Nahab, Abihu, Ithamar, and Eleazar are all included in Israel's seed. Eleazar are included in Israel's seed. And the people answered and said with one voice, all the words which Yehovah has said, we will do. Remember, he's telling them the judgments, all the judgments. This is what we've been doing for 21, 22, 23. Lots and lots of judgments. This is what the people said before when he went up the first time. Then all the people answered together and said, all that Yehovah has spoken, we will do. All that Yehovah has spoken, we will do. Who's we? The Ezra men. Those are the ones that are going to do it. So Moses brought back the words of the people to Yehovah. He's doing it here once again. Now it says, and Moses wrote all the words of Yehovah. He writes them in a sefer and rose up early in the morning. Look at this. And built an altar at the foot of the mountain. Where's the altar? At the foot of the mountain. Not in Rephidim. Not by the rock at Horeb. This is by the mountain. At the foot of the mountain. And 12 pillars. Hear that? The 12 pillars are there also, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Then he sent young men of Israel's seed, built an altar. I guess I talked about that, really. Did Yehovah tell Moses to build an altar? Yeah, it's the first thing he said when he went up. He said, an altar of earth, thou, apparently Moses, thou shalt make to me. And thou shalt slaughter on it thy olah, that's the burnt offering, thy olah and thy shalamim, thy flocks and thy cattle. In all the places where my name is remembered, I will come to thee and bless thee. Wow, such incentive for building an altar to Yehovah. Then he sent young men, here's the young men. Then he sent Shalach. Young men is Anar. Of Israel's seed. Israel's seeds, young men. And they shall ascend Olah. Ascend Olah. Remember, the sweet aroma that goes up to Yehovah is his burnt offerings. Sending Olah, ascend Olah. The Olah means to rise. The rise is the smoke that's arising. That's what goes up to Yehovah. They're sending it. They're sending. The action is the ascending, and the Olah is the noun, the smoke that's rising. It says, and they shall slaughter slaughters. Oh, isn't that interesting? Ascend Olah and slaughter slaughters. Slaughter is the verb. Slaughters is the noun. Slaughter slaughters of shalamim, of oxen to Yehovah. Wow. All the places that my name is remembered, I will come to thee and bless thee. And Moses took half the blood and put it in basins, and the blood and half the blood he sprinkled on the altar. What did he do with the ones that he put in the basins? We're going to find out. Then he took, what did he take? It says the book of the covenant. This is a book of the covenant. A book of the covenant. I don't think it's the whole covenant. It can't be, because Numbers hasn't been written yet. Haven't built the tabernacle yet. Haven't done any of that. This is a book of the covenant. They add the book. They want to make it the book. It's not. It's a book. And he took a book of the covenant and read it in the hearing of the people. Who's the people? We already said that's Israel's seed. And they said, all that Yehovah has said, we will do and be obedient. Well, we saw him say that in Exodus 9:8. We read it just a moment ago. We saw it in Exodus 24:3, 4 verses ago. And now we're seeing it in Exodus 7. We will do and be obedient. Will do. Here's what it is. Asa. We will do Asa and Shema. We will do and Shema. I like that. Hear and obey. I put it's not about the book. It's about the covenant. People want to make it about the book. Oh, it breaks my heart. Maybe you don't understand what I'm saying when I say that. You know, we have traditions about how to treat our worn out Bibles. Gotta wrap it up and bury it. Or burn it, I think is another way you can do it. Even our U.S. flag, we do things with that. But most, and they do that with honor. I did. Whenever I had an old Bible, I would do it. I would bury it. I think I only did it once. I think the rest of them got lost, perhaps. I don't even know. But most are irreverent, flippant, and unfearful of the very words of Yehovah. It's not about the Bible. It's about the covenant. It's not about the book. It's about the words in the book. We got to be willingly do them, hearing them and obeying them. And Moses took the blood. Here's the other half of the blood. Sprinkled it on who? The people. How did he do that? How did he sprinkle it on all the people? Must have taken quite a long time to be able to do that. And said, this is the blood of the covenant. This is the covenant's blood, which Yehovah has made with you according to all these words. All these words. These are Yehovah's words that we're talking about. I put, is the blood the covenant? No. It's part of our willing obedience to the words of the covenant and our ratification of it. All that Yehovah has said we will do. Not doing it would be taking his name in vain at this point, wouldn't it? I put, there is no definite article, the, before the word blood. Where does it say that? The blood. So he took blood, sprinkled it. Yeah. But the one before the word covenant, barith. So the emphasis is on the covenant, not the blood. Then Moses took the blood in the bowl and threw it on the people. He said, this is blood that seals the covenant. Those are my words, that seals the covenant, which Yehovah made with you, man, Ezra man, when he gave all these commandments. You shall make no covenant with them, nor with their Elohim. Without the covenant, the blood is worthless. Hear that? Without the covenant, the blood is worthless. We're going to see today the very first thing that Yehovah is going to tell Moses to do when he goes back up the mountain is he's going to give us instructions on how to build the Ark of the Testimonies. This is a tabernacle that we're talking about, the Ark of the Testimonies. It's the place where the testimonies dwell. We're going to see that he begins with the ark, the very place where we're going to put in his Torah, his covenant, his 10 Commandments that he wrote with his own finger. That's the place of honor and the reason for the ark, the reason for the tabernacle. I like the term, the heart within the heart. I went and looked at that this morning, the labab, the heart. If you break that down, it's a lamed and 2 bets. To guide and protect the heart within the hearts is kind of what the ancient Hebrew lexicon of the Bible, when you break it down into the pictograph, says. Yehovah guides and protects the heart within the heart. And I see this Holy of Holies. Remember, the Holy of Holies is in the holy place, which is in the tabernacle. Kind of like the heart of a man. Unless we have his words in our heart, anything else that we do is worthless. Got to have the covenant in our heart. Then it's going to be meaningful. And we're going to be building on a sure foundation. According to all these words, the covenant. The Berit here says, this is ancient Hebrew lexicon of the Bible. The Berit, covenant. A covenant is instituted through a slaughter of a choice fatted animal, which is cut in two, and the parties of the covenant pass through the pieces. If one party fails to meet the agreement of the covenant, then the others may do the same to them. That's what Yehovah is going to do. It's the covenant. It's all about the covenant. Here he talks about, this is Genesis 17. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy descendants after thee, in their generations, for an everlasting berit, to be Elohim to you and to thy descendants after thee. Also I will give to thee and thy descendants after thee the land in which thou art a stranger. Stranger, that's what we are right now. All the land of the Canaanites, we are dwelling in another people's lands right now, aren't we? But serving another Elohim. It says, as for thee, thou shalt keep my covenant, thou and thy descendants, thy seed after thee throughout their generations. This is my covenant which thou shalt keep. Here it is, which thou shalt keep between me and thee and thy descendants after thee. Every male child among you shall be circumcised, and you shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin. And it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and thee. It's a sign of the covenant. Remember, when we come into covenant with Yehovah, it's at Passover. And we've got to be circumcised before we come into that covenant. If the ger who dwells with you wishes to partake in the covenant, this is Exodus 12:48. Let all his males be circumcised, then let him come near and keep it, and he shall become as an Ezra, a native of the land. I put his circumcision in the covenant? No, it's a sign of the covenant, which a man does before he becomes spiritually born son of Yehovah at Passover. The covenant is all the words of Yehovah. Those are the things that we're going to put in our hearts. Let's move on. So now, he's going back up. This is going to be a 40-day period of time that he's going to be on the mountain. 40 days. He hasn't been on the mountain for 40 days. But now he's going up for 40 days. He's going to bring Nadab, Abihu, Aaron, and the 70 elders part of the way up. Here's what it says. This is the 5th time, by the way, that he's going up the mountain. Here's the beginning. I mean, I have him going up the mountain twice, verse 9 and verse 15, because he's going up and then he's stopping and he's going to go further up. Then Moses went up. Also Aaron, Nadab, Abihu. I guess it's Abihu. Soft bet. And the 70 elders of Israel. And they saw, look what it says, and they saw Israel's Elohim. Israel's Elohim. It's literally what it's saying. Israel's Elohim. How do you see Israel's Elohim? Hi, guys. No, he comes in fire and smoke. I said, sounds like they all saw a vision like John's. Look at what John said. Before the throne, there was a sea of glass like crystal. And in the midst of the throne and around the throne were 4 living creatures, full of the eyes in front and in back. They saw Israel's Elohim. And there was under their feet a paved work of sapphire stone, sea of glass like crystal. It was like the very heavens in clarity. Could they see Elohim? We've got to always keep this in mind. Here he says, thou, Moses, cannot see my face, for no man shall see me and live. No man, no ish, shall see me and live. 33, verse 9 through 11 says this. And it came to pass when Moses entered the tabernacle that the pillar of cloud descended and stood at the door of the tabernacle. And Yehovah talked with Moses. All the people saw the pillar of cloud. That's what he comes in, as a cloud and fire, standing at the tabernacle door. And all the people rose and worshipped, each man each in his tent door. So Yehovah spoke to Moses face to face as a man speaks to his friend. You know what occurred to me this week? These men who in verse 19, in the 3rd month, after Israel's seed had come out of the land of Egypt, remember they came with their congregation with them, plus their families and their little ones. Congregation was the Ger, who dwelt with them. It says, on the same day they came to the wilderness of Sinai. They came to the wilderness of Sinai. They had departed from Rephidim. But see, we don't understand that the Ger and the ladies are still in Rephidim. The servants are still in Rephidim. Israel's seed is coming to the mountain. They're separated from their families right now. They have been from 1901. And it appears to me that it's going to be 80 days before they are reunited with their families. That means that when we were building that golden altar, I say we, Israel's seed, was building that golden altar, made Aaron do it. Aaron didn't do that willingly. We'll see that in Yasher. Aaron knows better. It was Israel's seed that was doing it. When they were slaughtering people for breaking the covenant, bowing down and serving idols, 2nd commandment. It wasn't ladies that were being killed. The dancing that was going on were men. Oh, it puts such a different picture out there when we begin to see this. Let's go back. But on the nobles of Israel's seed, he did not lay his hand. So they saw the Elohim, and they ate and drank. It must be Elohim that did not lay his hand. But on the nobles of Israel's seed, he did not lay his hand. And they saw the Elohim and ate and drank. Well, again, they didn't see the Elohim. There must have been some kind of a vision. Or they saw the smoke that Yehovah dwelt in. Well, let's move on. 12. Then Yehovah said to Moses, come up to me on the mountain and be there, and I will give thee tablets of stone and the law, the Torah, and the commandments, which I have written, that you may teach them. Who's he going to teach? He's going to teach Israel's seed, not their women, not their children, not their ger, not their servants. They're going to teach their servants. He says, I will give thee the stone tablets and the Torah and the commandments, is literally what it's saying here. So Moses arose. Who did he arise with? His assistant Joshua. And Moses went up to the Elohim's mountain. Moses has an assistant, Joshua. Is he an apprentice? Is Yehovah preparing Joshua to take over? I think he is. 14. And he said to the elders, look what he's going to say to the elders. Wait here for us until we come back to you. Remember, he's not going to come back for 40 days. 40 days is going to be gone. Up until now, he's been making short trips. Now, all of a sudden, these men are going to see him go up into the smoke and think he's not coming back. Their hearts are going to wane. And he said to the elders, wait here for us until we come back to you. Y'all. Indeed, Aaron and Hur are with you. You have any problems? Talk to Aaron or talk to Hur. Remember Hur? He was the one who, when we had the battle with the Amorites, who came up on us from behind, helped Moses hold up his rod. Aaron was on one side, Hur was on the other side. Those are the two guys. That's who they're going to talk to if there's any difficulty. But look what it says. Aaron and Hur are with you if any man has a difficulty. Any man. The word being translated as men, as if any Baal has a difficulty. Baal. Any master. Oh, that's really interesting. He's not doing it for just the men. He's doing it for the master of the men. Because remember, these are men who have sons with them. Could they have servants with them, I wonder? I keep saying the servants are at base camp, but did the servants go with them? I don't know. I just don't know. I tend to think not. I think it's the sons. But we're talking about any Baal has a difficulty. That would be the head of the family. Appears to me. Let them go to them. Them, Aaron and Hur. Then Moses went up into the mountain, and the cloud covered the mountain. This is the 5th time that Moses is going up to the mountain. This is going to be 40 days that he's going to be up there this time. I put Moses go further with Joshua in 24:15 and does not return until 32:1. 32:1 is when he's coming back with the 10 Commandments. And he hears the voice of rejoicing in the camp. And he realizes, Yehovah told him ahead of time that the people have turned. Turns out, looks like it's men. No ladies, just the men. We get the idea because of the 10 Commandments, movies like that. The idea that we get from Israel's seed being children of Israel perverts our understandings so that we can't see what's going on. Then Moses went up to the mountain, and the cloud covered the mountain. And the glory, this is an interesting word. Here it is right here. Kabod. The kavod, the glory, the weight, rested on Mount Sinai. And the cloud covered it for 6 days. Who's in the cloud? Yehovah is in the cloud. For 6 days. Already he's gone 6 days. The people have seen Joshua and Moses go up into the cloud. Now it's the 7th day. And on the 7th day, he called to Moses out of the midst of the cloud. Isn't it interesting that he meets him on the Sabbath, the 7th day? Called to Moses out of the cloud. The sight of the glory, the weight of Yehovah was like a consuming fire on top of the mountain in the eyes of Israel's seed. Oh no, he must have died. It had to be what they're thinking. He's already been gone a week. He's going to be gone 40 days. 40 days. So Moses went, let me see my note. Israel is still at the foot of Elohim's mountain. Yes, Israel's still there. They haven't left. He says, wait here until I come back. Don't go back down to Rephidim, the rock at Horeb. Stay here. So Moses went into the midst of the cloud and went up to the mountain. And Moses was in the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. I put it appears that Joshua was still with him. Oh, you know what? I wanted to do one other thing. And that was Yasher has one small period, one small thing to say. This is the glory of Yehovah rested on Mount Sinai. The weight, there we are talking about it right now. And Moses came in the midst of the cloud and ascended to the mountain. Now I get to read just this little teeny portion. And Moses was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. He ate no bread and drank no water. No bread, no water. What does that mean? He took no bread and no water. Maybe that's why they thought he was dead. Did Yehovah feed him somehow? It says he ate and drank no water. And Yehovah instructed him, you can't live 40 days without water. Yehovah had to sustain them somehow. And Yah instructed him in the statutes and judgments in order to teach Israel's seed. Israel's seed. And Yahweh wrote the 10 Commandments, which he had commanded Israel's seed upon 2 tablets of stone, which he gave to Moses to command Israel's seed. And at the end of 40 days and 40 nights, when Yehovah had finished speaking to Moses on Sinai, then Yehovah gave to Moses the tablets of stone written with Elohim's finger. That's all it says in Yasher. No statutes, no judgments, no ordinances. Let's go back to Torah. And we're going to start chapter 25. This is going to be the creation of the tabernacle. Then Yehovah spoke to Moses, saying, speak to Israel's seed, that they bring, who's going to bring it? That they bring me an offering. From everyone who gives it willingly with his heart, thou shalt take an offering. But Israel's seed are to bring Yehovah a willing offering. Remember, these guys came out of Egypt with a lot of stuff. Is it possible they came out with wood? Or are they finding that in the wilderness? They're going to give of acacia wood, and they're going to need a lot of acacia wood. We're going to see that in weeks to come. I put Yehovah is only speaking to Moses right now. Moses has yet to give these instructions to Israel's seed. This is like going to be, how many chapters? My goodness, it was like till chapter 32, 25 to 32 are the instructions that he's giving to Moses. He's going to tell Moses today, thou shalt make an ark of acacia wood. Thou shalt overlay it with pure gold. Well, why is he saying that? Because Moses is going to be the one who's responsible to see that it all gets done correctly. He will give Israel's seed the instruction much later. Over 80 days later. Israel's seed left their families and came to the foot of Sinai at Exodus 19:1. That's what we talked about. And will not be reunited until Exodus 35:1. This time period is over 80 days. Then Moses gathered the congregation, here it is, the congregation of Israel's seed together. They brought them back. These are the words which Yehovah commanded you to do. Well, we're going to see what's going to happen in that particular verse. I believe it's going to be the start of that giving that Israel's seed. Remember, if your woman wants to give something to Yehovah, she's your possession. You are still giving it to Yehovah as Israel's seed. But could she do that? I think so. Could a servant do that? Still coming through you, Israel's seed. Well, we'll see who it is that's actually doing the giving here later on. Speak to Israel's seed, that they bring an offering. From everyone who gives it willingly from his heart, you shall take an offering. And this is the offering which you shall take from them. Yehovah is asking Israel's seed to provide all the components to build and operate the tabernacle, which will not be set up for over 7 months. We are right around the 3rd or 4th month of the year. And we are not going to set up the tabernacle until the first day of the 1st month of the 2nd year that we are in Rephidim. And I believe the tabernacle is going to be set up with the altar and with the pillar near Sinai, where Moses built that altar, not in Rephidim. Oh, so interesting to see these kinds of things. And the evidence is there. When we go to the videos put together by, no, I don't even remember what the man's name was. Do you remember, honey? And this is the offering which you shall take of them: gold and silver and bronze, blue, purple, and scarlet thread, fine linen, and goat's hair, ram's skin dyed red. Oh, goat's hair. Yeah, goat's hair. How interesting. Ram's skin dyed red. It says badger skins. We're going to talk about that later on next week. What's a badger skin? Badger skin, an unclean animal we're going to use for covering the ark? No, may it never be. And acacia wood, oil for light, and spices for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense, onyx stones, and stones to be set in the ephod and the breastplates. These are all things that have to do with the high priest. But again, it's about building the ark and the operating the ark, the things that are going to be needed for that. And let them make me a sanctuary, a consecrated and set apart place to dwell with Israel's seed. The tabernacle is going to be set up at the base of Sinai, where Israel is right now. Their families and the Ger are still at Rephidim. Oh, it's hard for us to see these things. According to all that I show thee, that is the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of all its furnishings. Just so thou shalt make it. What's going on here? Is he giving Moses a vision so that he knows specifically how to tell these men? Remember, Yehovah is going to pick 2 men one to handle cloth and one to handle metal that Moses is going to put in charge of this, but he's got to communicate it to them. Now he begins. What's the first thing we're going to do? And they shall make an ark of acacia wood. 2.5 cubits shall be its length, 1.5 cubits its width, and 1.5 cubits its height. You know what? This can get really boring unless you take the time to dig into it and get understanding. Begins with understanding what is a cubit. An ark. What's an ark? Turns out an ark is simply a box. Here it is right here. A box. A box, an ark, a chest, a coffin. Aron is the word. How long is a cubit? I put the tabernacle is being built from the inside out. Isn't that interesting? Being built from the inside to the outside. Yehovah builds it from the inside out, and that's how he builds his spiritually born men as well. It's really important that we understand this. It's about a circumcision of the heart before we can do anything else. It's about a humble and contrite heart and spirit before we begin to keep Yehovah's commandments. It's about making ourselves his alone and then coming near and drawing close to him. Remember, it says, one law shall be for the native born and the ger who dwells with you. Didn't tell Gentiles to do anything. Didn't tell Egypt to do anything except let us go. The tabernacle is being built from the inside out, just as the set-apart men are currently being formed by him to lead others in the coming last days. He will use them as his representatives in the earth to display the light of his words. Shine like the sun forever, turning the hearts of men to righteousness. That's going to be our job. I did some research. How big is a cubit? Usually it's between 18 and 20 inches. I went with 18. It seems to be the most common. That's what I've heard before. Kind of where my arm is at, an arm's length. 18 to 20 inches. Mine's about 18. With 18 inches, we'll get this. The ark is 27 inches by 27 inches by 45 inches. A little over 2 feet and almost 4 feet long. 2 feet wide, 2 feet deep, almost 4 foot long. 45 inches instead of 48. And thou, again, he's talking to Moses, isn't he? Not to the sons of Israel right now, Israel's seed. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, inside and out. Thou shalt overlay it, and shall make on it a molding of gold all around. I see the ark as the heart of a man. Remember we were talking about the holy place in the holy place, the most holy place in the holy place. There's lots of men that look good. They're handsome, rich, powerful, popular. But it's only an outward appearance. Yehovah looks at the heart. Remember what we see so often? When Samuel, Yehovah's anointed, came to anoint David. He came to Jesse's house. So it was when they came that he looked at Eliab. That's the eldest son. good-looking, strapping man, and said, surely Yehovah's anointed is before him. But Yehovah said to Samuel, do not look at the appearance, at his appearance, or at his physical stature, because I have refused him. For Yehovah does not see as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but Yehovah looks at the heart. Father, give me a heart to serve you wholly. He says in Jeremiah 17:9-10, the heart is deceitful above all things, desperately wicked, who can know it? I, Yehovah, search the heart. I test the mind, even to give every man, every ish. Oh, I wish we could understand this. According to his ways, according to the fruit of his doings. Look what he says about the new covenants. Oh, we love this new covenant idea, don't we? We just don't understand it's the same covenant, only this time written in our heart. Look what it says. Behold, the days are coming, Yehovah, says Yehovah, when I will make a new Kadesh, something that is new, renewed, restored, repaired, covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. House of Israel, house of Judah. Who are we talking about? If we look carefully at Ezekiel, we'll see we're talking about the Ezra and the Ger once again. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day which I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, my covenant which they broke, though I was a husband of Baal to them, says Yehovah. He's the husband. The bride that we're talking about is Israel. The groom is Yehovah, not Yeshua. He's a bride. Yeshua is a bride. But this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, says Yehovah, I will put my Torah, same statutes, judgments, and ordinances in their minds. Write it on their hearts, and I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. That's the new covenant. Same covenant, only written on our hearts this time. The ark of a man's soul. That which only Elohim can discern. Pure gold, tested in the fire. Inside and out. Oh, isn't that interesting? We have pure gold inside and out. That's why we're the precious possession, his segula, the thing that he keeps closest to himself. He's going to have the cover, the ark of the mercy seat. We're going to see the next thing we talk about, the mercy seat. That's where Yehovah dwells. We're under him. Talk about being covered by eagle's wings. You shall cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in the 4 corners. 2 rings on one side and 2 rings on the other side. And you shall make poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold. Even the rods that are going to be in the ark for us to carry it. Not for us to carry it, for the priests. No, the Kohathites to carry it. The priests cover it. The Kohathites are going to carry it. Sons of Kohath. But look at what it says about these rods, these poles. You shall put these poles into the rings of the side of the ark, and the ark may be carried by them. I put, which side did the poles go on? The long side or the short side? You know what? If you do a search on Google for Ark of the Testimonies, Ark of the Covenants, you're going to find that almost always the poles are on the long side. You know what? I want to show you. Let's just do it for fun. Of the testimony. I did it this morning. Look at here. Almost always the poles are on the long side. Almost always. But when the ark is in the Holy of Holies, we're going to see that the poles touch the curtains. Oh, that means the poles have to be the other way. Here's the picture that I used this morning. Right here. It's on the long side. And these poles are never removed. Did you know that? Look what it says right here. The poles shall be in the rings of the ark. They shall not be taken from it. Here's the ark. This is the one I found prior to today. I needed something a little bit bigger. Again, it's on the short side, not the long side. Shall not be taken from it. Here we are. And thou shalt put into the ark the testimony. This is the Ark of the Testimony in the tabernacle of testimonies. Do you think Yehovah is trying to make a point that his word is supposed to be at the center of everything? Thou shalt put in the ark the testimony, which I will give you. It's going to be the Ten Commandments written on stone. Eventually, the rest of the law is going to go, I think, on the outside of the ark, it appears to me. We'll see that in future days. Let's go to 17. He says, you shall make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2.5 cubits shall be its length, and 1.5 cubits its width. As I say, that doesn't work. Yeah, we're still talking about that basically 2 feet by 4 foot. Got to fit the ark that it's covering, doesn't it? And you shall make 2 cherubim of gold, of hammered work. Thou shalt make them at the end of the mercy seats. This is going to be one piece of workmanship that's going to have these 2 cherubim, I guess we could call them angels, with their wings covering the ark. Oh, it's such a beautiful thing to see that when you're looking at it as his men, Yehovah's protection guarding us. Almost when Yehovah raises up his 144,000, puts pillars of fire over us. It talks about the covering that's going to keep the rain from us and the sun from us. Probably a shield from the world and the foes that will come against us in those days. One piece of work. It's all going to be made in such a way. It appears to be one solid piece, the cover and the 2 cherubim. We're going to see it's going to happen the same way with the lampstand. Is all going to be one piece of work as well. Oh, the workmanship and the planning that must go into this to make it all work is amazing. He says, make 1 cherub at one end and the other cherub at the other end. Thou shalt make the cherubim at the 2 ends of one piece with the mercy seats. Looks like they go together. Those are added words, but it looks like they go together. And the cherubim shall stretch out their wings above, covering the mercy seat with their wings. And they shall face one another. The faces of the cherubim shall be towards the mercy seat. They're looking down, but their wings are going out together, covering the mercy seat. That's why I like that particular picture that I used. Here it is. See how the angels' wings are facing one another, covering the ark and looking down. I think that's good. Seems like what Yehovah, this is just somebody's interpretation. Remember, you look at the ark, you die. So no one's seen it. We can't see it. We can only speculate on what it looks like at this point. Everybody's saying, well, we found the ark. Well, did you find the ark? If you look at it, you die. I don't think you found the ark. Because remember, you got to be of the Aaronic priesthood to be able to cover it. So that even the Kohathites, the sons of Kohath, can carry it. Because if they look at it, they die. Wow, so interesting. Okay, continuing. Coverings. This is an interesting word. The word is sakat. Sakat. Covering. Entwine. Cover. But it comes from the same word, sakot. When we talk about the hedge, to surround with a small wall of protection. When we're building in the wilderness. Oh, let me just read this. It is only Israel's seed, his Ezra men, who dwell in the sukkah during Sukkot. This is where that word comes from, covering. The wings are covering the cover of the ark, which has the testimony, the words of Yehovah in it. Is the ark a sort of lavab? A house within a house? I think it is. We are to have his words in our hearts. My son, give attention to my words. This is Proverbs 4:20 and 23. Incline your ear to my sayings. Do not let them depart from your eyes. Keep them in the midst of your heart. For they are life to those who find them, and health to their flesh. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it springs the issues of life. Every commandment which I command you today, you must be careful to observe, that you may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which Yehovah swore to your fathers, to thy fathers. And thou shalt remember that Yehovah thy Elohim led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness to humble you, to test you, and to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or not. And when we men do, we become his son Israel. Remember? My son, my firstborn is Israel at Passover, by entering into the covenant and his segula, his special treasure that he holds close and who is protected by him. That's the covering, Sukkot. Put it off so I don't do this the next time. All right, 22. And there I will meet with you. Where? On the mercy seat. There I will meet with you. I will speak with you above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubim, which are on the Ark of the Testimony, about everything which I will give thee in commandment to Israel's seed. This is where he's going to speak to Moses and give him the words that he's going to give to us. And Yehovah spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of meetings, on the first day of the second month in the second year after they had come out of the land of Egypt. This is what he promised he would do. He would speak with Moses. And when Moses was gone into the tabernacle of the congregation to speak with him, then he heard the voice of one speaking to him from above the mercy seat that was upon the Ark of the Testimony, from between the two cherubim, and he spake unto him. Yes, what Yehovah says, Yehovah does. I always like to see the confirmation in his word. We're going to make something else. You shall also make a table of acacia wood. Again, we're using acacia wood, aren't we? We're going to use gold. We're going to use wood for poles. You shall also make a table of acacia wood. 2 cubits shall be its length, a cubit its width, and a cubit and a half its height. Here it is, 36 inches by 18 inches by 24 inches. 24 inches, that's a pretty low table, isn't it? Here it is. Here's a couple ideas of what it looks like. There's one. Here's the other. Notice it's got that lip around it. You see that lip at the top that goes around it, keeps things on it, keeps them from falling down. It's kind of a work table, it seems like, in some ways. But they have obviously sacred things on it, pictures, perhaps even some of the edge or the wicks, wick trimmers and those kinds of things are there. Sorry our dogs have been so noisy today. The neighbor's dog is barking, and that makes our dogs want to bark. You know, gotta follow the crowd. Okay, yeah, they're ruled by their flesh. Okay, you shall overlay it with pure gold. Make a molding of gold all around. You shall make it for a frame of a handbreadth all around, and you shall make a gold molding for the frame all around. You shall make for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings on the 4 corners that are at its 4 legs. Again, which way is this going to be carried? With an 18 inches, I'm guessing that the poles were fitted on the short side, not the long as seen in most pictures. Again, when we look at most pictures, we just saw those 2 pictures. Here they are again. I've got to be careful about that. Here they are again. See, it's on the long side. The poles had to be much longer than this to be carried, I would think. Here's the other picture. A little bit longer poles. But again, on the long side, not the short side. If they're on the short side, it'd be easier to carry, I would think, because then you're not bumping shoulders with the man next to you. Just my thoughts. These are poles, apparently, that are able to be removed. They don't have to stay in it all the time. And you shall make the poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold, that the table may be carried with them. You shall make its dishes, its pans, its pitchers, and its bowls for pouring. You shall make them of pure gold. Doesn't tell us anything else. Remember, Moses is going to make them according to what Yehovah showed him on the mountain. It must be a vision that he gave him. Here I put, this is how it's packed for traveling. This is Numbers 4. On the table of the showbread, they shall spread a blue cloth, and put on it the dishes, the pans, the bowls, the pitchers for pouring, and the showbread shall be on it. They shall spread over them a scarlet cloth, and cover the same with a covering of badger skin, and they shall insert the poles. Talking about what the priests are going to do when we're going to move these sacred furnishings of the tabernacle. All the gold furnishings. Could these dishes, the pans, the bowls, the pitchers, be for making the showbread? Or were they really not for the table, but rather for the use of the service of the tabernacle? Were they pitchers that had oil in them, perhaps, for the lampstands? Was there incense in some of them? Did they make the incense in some of these? Did they make the anointing oil in some of these? could be that that's the case for each of those. And you shall set the showbread on the table before me always. Apparently there's always going to be some kind of showbread there. Here's what it says in Leviticus. And you shall take fine flour and bake 12 cakes with it. 2/10 of an ephah shall be in each cake. Could that be part of the mixing bowl situations that we're talking about? You shall set them in 2 rows, 6 in a row, on the pure gold table before Yehovah. And you shall put pure frankincense on each row, that it may be on the bread for a memorial, an offering made by fire to Yehovah. Every Sabbath he shall set it before Yehovah continually for Israel's seed by an everlasting covenant. Every Sabbath we're going to refresh the showbread, it sounds like. And it shall be for Aaron and his sons, and they shall eat it in the holy place. For it is most holy to him from the offerings of Yehovah made by fire, by perpetual statutes. So we are getting statutes right now. Well, right now we're getting instructions. I guess that's Leviticus, but we're getting instructions right now on how to build it. Moses is getting instructions right now on how to build it. Thou shalt also make a lampstand of pure gold. The lampstand shall be of hammered work. Its shaft, its branches, its bowls, its knobs and flowers shall be of one piece. Boy, now this is a tricky piece of work that someone's got to do. And 6 branches shall come out of its side. 3 branches of the lampstand out of one side, and 3 branches of the lampstand on the other side. 3 bowls shall be made like almond blossoms on one branch, with an ornamental knob and a flower, and 3 bowls made like almond blossoms on the other branch, with the ornamental knob and the flower. And so for the 6 branches that come out of the lampstand. Well, here's the almond blossom, first of all. This is what we're talking about. That's what it looks like. Then he goes on. And on the lampstand itself, 4 bowls shall be made like almond blossoms, each with its ornamental knob and flower. Well, this is really confusing as to what's going on, but here's what I'm guessing it looks most like. Something completely different than what we've always understood as the lampstand, the typical Jewish lampstand. Basically 2-dimensional. This is more of a 3-dimensional object with decorative things in between the branches. And there shall be a knob under the first 2 branches. Notice there is one on that particular one. Knob under the first 2 branches. There's the first 2 branches. And then more knobs. Take it, check it out. There shall be a knob under the first 2 branches of the same, a knob under the second 2 branches of the same, a knob under the third branches of the same, according to the 6 branches that extend from the lampstand. Their knobs and their branches shall be, they put, shall be of one piece. Apparently that's added words, but it seems to be all of it one hammered piece of pure gold. I think that the words that they're adding are justified for our understanding. All of it, one hammered piece of pure gold. Makes sense. Thou shalt make 7 lamps for it, and they shall arrange its lamps so they give light in front of it. Is it possible that the blossoms are kind of a reflector for the candle that's burning? I think it is. I think that has to do with getting more light out into the room. I guess, but it would make sense to me. No sense in shining the light behind it. We want to shine the light in front of it, don't we? All of it shall be one hammered piece of gold. You shall make 7 lamps for it, and they shall arrange the lamps so that they give light in front of it. Well, that's exactly what I was just saying. It may be that the petals of each blossom were to reflect the light into the room more efficiently. And its wick trimmers and their trays shall be of pure gold. Is this, you have to ask yourself, what did we do with the wick trimmers? What did we do with the trays when we weren't using them? Put them on the floor? Or is it possible that we put them on that table of showbread with the pots and the pans and the other things for use in this holy place? I think they were on the table. Don't think they took them out. They're gold. The gold things stay. The gold things are covered. We just read about it. Here's what a wick trimmer looks like. Obviously, this is not a gold one. Here's another one. Or maybe this is the tray for it. This is show and tell day here. Wick trimmer with its tray. Okay, a couple more verses here. And we'll finish this chapter. And it shall be made of a talent of pure gold, with all these utensils. The wick trimmer and their trays. Wick trimmers, more than one. Wick trimmers and their trays shall be of pure gold. It shall be made of a talent of pure gold with all these utensils. Would these kind of utensils be kept on the table of showbread? Here's the word utensils. The utensils. It says with all the utensils. Kelly. Something prepared that is an apparatus. Utensils. Last verse. And see to it that you make them according to the pattern which was shown to you on the mountain. Again, there seems to be some information that Moses came down with in his head that he's going to tell them, no, I want to have this kind of design on it. I want to have this particular shape on it. I want the bowls to be shaped in such a way. There might be some information that Moses is bringing back with him that is going to tell these 2 men who are going to be building these things, probably more supervising what's going to be done with the cloth, the linens, the weaving, and then all the things made of gold. It appears Moses received some very specific information, and he had to oversee everything to be sure everything was done correctly. I think that's why it says, thou shalt make, thou shalt make, thou shalt make. Because he's the one that wants to make sure that it's all being done the way Yehovah expects it to be done. He goes on, verse 26. Moreover, thou shalt make the tabernacle with 10 curtains. Here he's still talking about thou shalt make. Well, obviously Moses is not capable of doing all these things. He is where the buck stops. He's the one that's going to oversee and make sure that it's all done according to Yehovah's requirements. Next week, we're going to begin the tabernacle. Oh, pretty fun. We're going to see how large this tabernacle really is. How large is the tabernacle? Do you have any idea? I didn't. But I do now. Let's look forward to that for next week when we start talking about the 4 coverings that are going to be over the top of it. When we start talking about we're going to talk about here, the boards. Oh, some very interesting things. I guess that's the next chapter. Horns. We'll get into it. Thank you for joining me today. We'll talk to you again next week. Thank you. I'm so glad you were here. Have a wonderful day. Bye now.